Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the hottest team in the National Football League. They might be the best team in the NFL, and it's really cool to be watching this journey. The NFL season should end after 16 games. Jacksonville's got one more next Sunday against Tennessee Titans. You win that football game, and you win the AFC South. Crazy how much can change over an NFL season. But 12-4? The Jacksonville Jaguars are 12-4. They have now won 7 straight football games. We have seen this team win in a multitude of different ways, and I want to go through a couple of fun stuff that I have noticed from this Jags team, stats, all that fun stuff. I want to give a little bit of a comment on the Colts game. I did a rapid reaction yesterday if you guys want to check that out, but it's kind of hard to get like deep thoughts or even observations, just kind of the way we do the rapid reaction. So that win over the Colts, folks, I think it really could have been 30 to something. The red zone efficiency wasn't good. I saw even Trevor Lawrence get a little bit of, negative press on his interception. So basically, there were 2 hiccups in the first half, and the reason it was 10-7, Jacksonville was losing. Number 1 was the Jacoby Myers lateral to Travis Etienne. I love laterals, and I have a feeling that might not be the end you see it. Maybe it would be because of the fumble, but that's something that's very uncharacteristic of both Etienne and Jacoby Myers. This is kind of a one-off situation, in my opinion. Indianapolis also had the football for a long time, but the Trevor Lawrence pick, that was an unbelievable play from Jermaine Pratt. So, like I said, you look at the stats, Lawrence 23 of 37, 263 yards, no passing touchdowns, that interception, the 2 rushing touchdowns. But if you watch that football game live, Trevor Lawrence was perfectly fine. He was good. So I wanted to get that out there because he's in the MVP talks, and he should be in the MVP talks. I feel like those awards have kind of lost their luster, so I'm not here to speculate. But Trevor Lawrence currently has more rushing touchdowns than A-Chain. He has more rushing yards than Lamar Jackson. He's got more passing touchdowns than Josh Allen. He's got more passing yards than Caleb Williams. He's got a higher QBR than Jalen Hurts. He's got 16 total touchdowns to 1 interception in his last 5 games, about 1,400 passing yards in that stretch as well. And you look at this Jacksonville team, they have beaten so many good teams. And, probably not going to be the number 1 seed because you guys need Denver and New England to both lose on Sunday. So probably going to be the 3 seed, and it looks like the more likely matchup for you guys is going to be against the Buffalo Bills. And Trevor Lawrence, if I'm not mistaken, is 2-1 in his career against Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills. But before we get any further into tonight's video, folks, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We've been posting like 2 or 3 Jag videos every single week since that Chiefs win all the way at the beginning of the season. You guys have ridden with this channel for the whole season, so I appreciate you so much. Try and get this. Man, we're like getting close to 100K, and you guys are a big reason for that. So thank you for all the support. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and yeah, basically, Jacksonville, I saw this cool tweet. It puts it into perspective. All right, the 12-4 Jacksonville Jaguars now have beaten the 11-win Houston Texans, the 11-win San Francisco 49ers, the 11-win Los Angeles Chargers, and the 13-win Denver Broncos. And then I have to throw in the Chiefs win because that was the game that put me on. That was the game that put me on to, I was already big into Liam Cohen, but I didn't think you go from 4-13 to 12-4. That's not normal. That's historic. This is Coach of the Year. This is unprecedented. This is insane. Even the way you guys got Liam and the new GM and the new coordinators, it's the perfect storm. This team is unbelievably legit. And what still pisses me off is, first off, now that I don't know what it was about the Phillip Rivers win. I don't know why the trend kind of began around the Denver win, but basically the Jags have still gotten very little press. Small market team, blah, blah, blah. They haven't beaten anybody, even though we all know that's hogwash. And then they beat the Denver Broncos, who were the hottest and I think the best record team in the NFL at the time. And then people start being like, whoa, Duval. Like, hold on, this Jag team might actually be legit. They're legit. And now after they beat the Colts, it's like, whoa, hold on. I think they could be going to Santa Clara. So Jacksonville has finally now caught on to trends. And I don't mean that in any way other than the sense of all I distinctly remember after that Kansas City Chiefs overtime victory for Jacksonville was why that was such a good loss for Kansas City. and how good of a loss that was for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was nothing about Jacksonville. It was nothing about Trevor Lawrence, and I watch it all, I read it all. It was, wow, that was a really good loss by the Kansas City Chiefs. And from that point on, the rest is history, and that's the teams they have beaten, and they can compete with everybody. And it's clear as day now as we enter the final week of the NFL season, and it should be the final week, but neither here nor there. One of my favorite anecdotes about the Jacksonville team is their number one ranked rushing defense, because I don't think people get it. You go back to like early on in the season, kind of around maybe that like 3 out of 4 game losing stretch in the middle of the season, or even around that Kansas City game. The thing about Jacksonville's defense that people had was it's not a good defense, but they're taking the ball away at an insane rate. And, it's like the Bears. These aren't good defenses, and they're going to fall off a cliff eventually. Devin Lloyd's not going to get an interception every game. They're eventually going to fall off a cliff when the defense isn't generating takeaways. And so, first off, they're still generating 2 takeaways per game. That's second in the NFL. But they're also 9th in defensive scoring, and they're 1st in rushing defense, and nobody knows that. And so when they beat Indianapolis 1 month ago by 17 points, it was nothing about how they stifled Jonathan Taylor. It was all about, whoa, Daniel Jones, he just tore his Achilles. Daniel Jones is done for the season. What are they going to do? What are the Colts going to do? Jacksonville held Jonathan Taylor to just 19 yards on 9 carries in the second half on Sunday. All right, tied for the fewest second half rushing yards in a game this season for him. Per ESPN research, Taylor finished with 70 yards rushing. So they just completely stifled, once again, Jonathan Taylor. He averaged 3.3 yards per carry. So we're getting our facts straight here. They've got the number 1 rushing defense. They've got the coach. They've got the pieces on defense. They've got the number 1 rushing defense. They've got the quarterback. They've got the running back room. I don't care that they're 20th in rushing yards per game. They're still putting up 120 a game, and I know they can run the ball. I think really when you look at the offense, they're good at pretty much every single thing. Maybe a little bit too many turnovers, but they're still around middle of the pack. But you've got a scoring team and a great, solid defense right now. A red-hot team. This Jacksonville team can do whatever they please. And, like, the running game, they're 20th in rushing yards per game. But it's more about opening up the playbook, and it's more about playing within the game plan that Liam Cohen has brought up to open up play action, to open up certain plays in certain moments later on in the game. So it's just a really smart football team. Liam Cohen's really smart. Trevor Lawrence is really smart. They've got great coordinators and a great coaching staff. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass because you guys are, just won and you've won 7 straight games. We've been talking about it all year. It's a really smart team, and it's scary. It should be scary. I think it's super exciting. I'm a Packers fan, and a Jacksonville Jaguars Super Bowl, that would be, I don't think anybody, no matter who your team is, I think everyone would think that would be so cool. So thank you for watching. We'll get one more Jag video out to you guys before next Sunday against Tennessee once we have better clips from this Colts game. But thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you soon. But let me know your thoughts on this 12-4 Jag team down below. Peace.